that we've experienced as a company and kind of more specifically as a division is whatever somebody ends up doing in their fast start, if you take that times it by 2, that tends to be the average production for the representatives on the team. And again, it holds more accurately with more veteran offices than it does with kind of new offices. The reason I say that is new offices tend to have inconsistencies in their training program where they maybe get exposed here or there, right? Like, for example, if an office is very new and it's very small, let's say you have 20 reps, right? One of your reps goes out and does $50,000 for the summer. Well, even if they had a decent fast start, that's going to really skew numbers one way or the other. So this really kind of holds over more kind of standard large organizations, specifically vet DM offices. So in the pilot office this summer, I think the exact number we had was 279 recruits, something like that. We were right at that number for the summer. Our fast start average was a little over $1,500. So if you're doing the math, right, if you double that, that's $3,000 per recruit. You take 270, you times that by 270 times 3,000 is $810,000 in new business. I think we did $830,000 in new business. So pretty damn close. Now here's where it gets kind of exciting though. If you can make slight adjustments that get the average number of demos completed up by 1 or 2 in comparison to what you have been doing, that can generate massive changes in your business. And so that's how you see offices that one summer will go from doing, $100,000, all of a sudden now they did 300 or 250. It wasn't like they recruited 3 times as many recruits. Now, sometimes it is, but more often than not, they changed 1 or 2 little programs that got the number of demos completed by their training class up on average of 1 to 2. First weekend, 1 to 2 more, days 4 through 10. And then because of that, just because they've done better, they've succeeded, it ends up causing them to sell a lot more during their career. So here's kind of some of the key programs that are involved in somebody's fast start. So the first one is coming to training, right? So show to training, and not only show to training, but coming to training the right way. And that's something that Sam mentioned, right? Average number of demos complete. Next one is the names list taught during training. Then after that, it's the phone jam during day 1 of training. So boom, boom, boom. You're getting a lot done on that first day, which is one of the reasons why I've kind of gone the route of not trying to teach closing on day 1. There's a lot of stuff that happens on day 1 that's designed to help people get demos, where if we start trying to weave in a bunch of sales stuff into day 1, it can hold us back, I think, in our effort to try to get the overall end game higher, which is they're selling more. Okay. I've seen offices that go that route of, I'm going to teach them at least how to close on the homemaker on day 1, or I'm going to teach them how to close on the 3 popular sets on day 1, and at least give them the prices so they know, so that gets out of the way. Well, challenge with that is now you've created a barrier to launch. If somebody's worried about the price a little bit, because you haven't done enough time to build up the value, but then also you're having them try to book up demos with that fear of, okay, can people afford this or not? Whereas at day 1, if they're just excited about the product and they want to introduce it to as many of the right types of people as possible, that's what sells Cutco, right? I mean, we've got reps on the team who have really shitty average orders, but because they're around for a long period of time, they sell a lot. We have representatives that maybe don't know how to close that well, don't know how to do a great presentation, but because they do enough appointments, they sell. The representative down in Miami that won the rep push, right? Amy Rabb. She had sold, I think it was $25,000 in her fast start, the whole time cutting the rope with a paring knife. So like I said, I mean, you don't have to be great at a presentation so long as you're getting in front of enough of the right types of people and you're confident and you believe that people should get it, right? That's the goal here. So anyway, let's keep rolling. So that's all on day 1. Now to day 2, and this is something that it's an easy shift, but an important one, is making sure people come back to day 2 with additional names and numbers. And this is something that as we go back, we're going to work our way backwards. We're going to start during end of fast start, kind of work our way towards beginning of fast start as we tackle subject matter. You've got arrival with additional names and numbers. We're going to talk about the assignments there, and the assignment culture is going to be one of our TLA, our next level weekly meetings is going to be an assignment culture during their fast start. So we're going to talk about kind of a program that we could promote. So if somebody says, hey, in the Georgia division, what are the assignments for a rep finishing their training? Everybody knows, right? You know, I think right now, if we were to ask, hey, what are the assignments? And we did actually ask, everybody's different. Everybody had different numbers. Some people didn't make assignments. I've heard that before. Even one who had a pretty good days 4 through 10, she made a comment. She said, you know, I don't know why I didn't give them an assignment from demos from Wednesday's team meeting until Sunday, but I didn't, you know. So we're going to talk about that. And then, so coming in with the right numbers on day 2, the phone jam and making sure that, you know, that's happening. So we're going to talk about phone jams as one of our topics during training and digging into how to create great phone jams. The next part is first weekend demo management and demo creation. So that's kind of a PDI slash, you know, really driving demo message, but that's going to be something we're going to dig into. It's going to be one of our topics. Then we've got AT1. So how to run a kick-ass advanced training 1 designed to create activity and results. Then, you know, something I'm excited to talk about is Tuesday phone PC / coaching calls. And this is one where it's a big low-hanging fruit for our division, because even in the pilot, we really dropped the ball here. Another one is Champions Club in general. So Champions Club attendance.
I didn't do that once.
What's that?
I did not do that once, and I should have.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, and here's the thing, guys. I think, you know, the funny thing about all this is as we go through some of this, this isn't designed to be one of those, oh my gosh, I'm a loser, I didn't do this. But more importantly, it's like, holy shit, look at the upside opportunity that we have. That's what's cool. At least the way I look at it. It's like we got all of the results that we got this summer without doing some of these things or making these a big priority. Advanced training 2 is another one. You know, it's like, what is that? You know, I thought advanced training 2 was team meeting. Yes, it kind of is, but if we could drive that for our fast start group, because, and you'll notice you're hearing me talk about extra things that are in the schedule for our fast starters. And the reason being is what is an easier time to create habits for anything? Somebody who's new or somebody who's more veteran? Somebody's new, right? You know, I mean, for example, if I'll equate it to golf. Yeah, I had a golf lesson early this morning, and you know, and it was funny. I went through this little time in my career of golf, right? It's a very short window, but time in my career of golf where I had figured it out, so to speak. My swing was sweet. I was hitting it straight. I was hitting it far. I was having really good success. But then for whatever reason, I just lost it. You know, like I absolutely lost it. Like I couldn't hit the ball straight, couldn't figure it out. And what was funny is I went and had this lesson, and something that I had created a bad habit over the months of just kind of casually playing was very apparent to the guy that I'd gotten lessons from. And he's like, why are you pulling your elbow when in your swing? You know, and it was a simple thing, but it was one where it was like, you know, as soon as I fixed that, it was like eye-opening. But here's the thing. If I was a veteran golfer, somebody who'd been swinging for years, and there's a lot of golfers out there that they have that hitch kind of in their swing / movement in their swing, where you try to get them to switch that. Now they're freaking out, right? They can't do anything and they suck. But anyway, so we're so it's kind of cool to kind of address it when somebody's newer, because if you get it when it's newer, you create the right habits, and then it just becomes a lot simpler. It becomes a lot easier to institute massive change in their career. So that's why you're going to hear me talk more about, when we talk about driving productivity, we're going to talk more about driving fast start stuff than we are going to talk about beyond, right? But that is something there. So advanced training 2, and then first PSP is another one. Right. So the first PSP is another, kind of, function that we're going to talk about. And part of it is we're going to teach this is how to run an effective PSP meeting. But then also like how to really dig in with somebody when they're brand new to create that exit strategy from their fast start. Because one of the things that one of our districts brought up on our staff meeting Tuesday, she said, I do a great job when they're in their fast start, but then it just seems like every time I have a big fast starter who does like 10K or more, it's like right after they do that, they do nothing else, for the rest of their career, and it's like, what in the world? And, is it not putting something out in front of them they're excited about? Is it not giving them that next step to promote? In some cases, it's just coming up with a consistent schedule, because, people are grinding so much in their fast start doing, during the summer, at least 3, 4, 5 demos a day, that once they get past that, they're tired and they get into a rhythm of not doing anything. They get those first couple of paychecks. Now, all of a sudden, it's like, well, why do I need to work? I made enough money where I don't have to do much, and I'll just kind of do things occasionally. But if you get them in the right habits, then they're always getting stuff out ahead of them, right? So I'm excited to kind of dig into some of these topics first. And so this is what we're going to tackle for the next several TLA preps. And I want to just start right away by doing days 4 through 10. Okay, so we're going to start with that. It's a low-hanging, easy, upside opportunity, because, we could talk about stuff to do in their first weekend, but as I looked at our results divisionally, we had way more upside days 4 through 10 than we did first weekend. First weekend, if somebody sucked, they sucked, right? Like that's something that's an easy fix. But for vast majority, it was like people would sell a certain amount, and they theoretically should sell at least the same amount days 4 through 10, right? They've got double the time to sell, right? And they're still calling. They're still in that situation where they're seeing people that they know somewhat decently, where they're picking up when they call them type thing. It's not like everybody exhausts everybody they know super well that's going to pick up their first few days. So what is it that's holding it back? Well, a lot of it's just having the structure there. So we're going to talk about that. But we had examples of offices where, they would sell like $700 on average first weekend, and then drop down to like $300 days 4 through 10. Or they would do 600 and then 250, and that's not to say that anything is wrong with that person, but it's just, hey, if we could tweak the programs a little bit, it could lead to some really big changes. So let's start with days 4 through 10. And so I want to tackle the Tuesday PDI / coaching call section for the rest of today. And then we're going to start working through the fast start each of the next several weeks. So we're doing Tuesday effective coaching. Then next prep, we're going to dig into advanced training 2. So setting up advanced training 2 for success the right way. Then after that, we're going to tackle driving back half of the weekend and PSP to set up their schedule. So let's talk about Tuesday PDI. So how do you do it the right way? Well, first of all, it starts during advanced training. Okay, and during AT1, setting up a power hour. Okay, and so when you go through on advanced training 1, one of the keys to success for selling in Cutco is having a schedule for success. Right, calling the right types of people, but then also having your names and numbers organized and ready to roll. Okay, and so during advanced training 1, it's important to go around the horn and to create an individual power hour time. And so this is one of those things where there's been different schools of thought on when this should happen. Some people are of the belief system that it should be at the same time for everybody. Some people are of the belief system where You want it to be personalized to them, and so long as it works, it works. That's good. I tend to fall in that category during the fall and spring, especially because everybody's got a different schedule. But but scheduling a power hour time, and then explaining what a power hour jam is, or power hour session. So here's what a power hour session is. A power hour session is a planning session, right? So when you introduce it, you're teaching this in advanced training. Guys, a power hour session is where it's a planning session where you take an hour, you block that time off to set yourself up for success when you come in to the office on Wednesday. We know that people tend to be most effective making phone calls when they're in the office and there's kind of a fun environment around them. But the people that are the most successful are the ones that have spent the time to get themselves organized. And so what does organized mean? Well, what organized means is it means that they've got their names and numbers properly typed out / written out. And what we're going to go the route of doing this summer, and we're going to start it here in the fall and work on it to really fine tune it, but sending out an Excel spreadsheet so that way our new representatives can create their attack list when they're new. For those that have done this before on a computer, it's a lot easier to do if you do it from the beginning than when you have 2,000 recommendations to try to enter in, right? But by getting them this information at the beginning, it makes it cleaner. Plus, the other thing is it makes it easier for us as managers to check it, right? Yeah.
I had so many people this summer, like, you know how when you do a phone jam and then people start calling you back and they have to like scramble through their recs. I had my reps do those spreadsheet, and it made it easier. You could just hit Command F and then type in the number and it pulls it up. And you can makes it so much easier too.
It's easier to keep track of your names and numbers. It makes it easier for you as the manager to actually look and see. It makes it easier for them to keep notes, right? And the other thing, guys, is it keeps reps from immediately trying to rush into calling their recommendations. Because as a leader, as a manager, you want to book up demos. You know, that's the objective of the Wednesday night team meeting. But if somebody comes in and they have nobody else to call other than their recs, sometimes it makes us want to force our hand to then teach them how to call recs just so that they have people to call instead of, I called everybody, but I can call my recs, right? Because you'll hear that happen, right? We'll probably hear it tonight at the team meeting. I called everybody I know except for my recs. You teach me how to call recs. And the kid started 3 weeks ago and has done 10 demos or 14 demos. So it's teaching them what a power is, right? So it's getting yourself organized, set up for success, getting all your names and numbers typed out on a spreadsheet. And the mission of the power hour is to come up with at least 50 names and numbers to be able to reach out to and book up, with the goal of being able to schedule 1 out of every 5 and book up 10 plus demos when you come in on Wednesday night. And so let me talk about the order of the attack list, right? And then that's where you do the big, list. And I think you guys may have seen this, but I just want to make sure that if you haven't, it's teaching this, but it's the call order that people call it, right? And some of you guys probably have heard of this, but I don't know if you guys were you guys teaching this during advanced training or no?
People you know.
Yeah, who to call first, that sort of thing. Yeah, it's on the videos, I think, but just really instilling in them what it means to make this done effectively. So it's you're calling your reschedules first. So those are the first people that you're going to call. So you want to keep those organized. The next group is what?
Callbacks.
Callbacks, right? So callbacks are the next group of people, right? Next group are going to be people from your initial list. And guys, here's what I want you to do. Go ahead and open up to page 14. How many of these have you not called yet? Now, if you've done this properly during training, which we'll talk about how to make that an assignment, they should have 50 of those names and numbers on page 14 already done. But if I'm being honest, that wasn't we didn't really track that well at all at least in the pilot we didn't. And I'm doubting if we did it well in the pilot that we did it well in a lot of other offices either, right? Did you guys track this at all? To day 2 of training? Yeah, I mean, and here's the thing, it wasn't promoted. It wasn't like, this wasn't the part of the program that we talked about going into the summer, so I wouldn't expect anybody to be at that point. But again, this is an area of opportunity, right? But page 14, getting those names and numbers, right?
Is that the list with like 126?
Yeah, that's right, where they write down, where they do that day 1 names list talk.
Would you transfer the assignment sheet onto that page?
What do you mean?
Like the assignment sheet we give them in the interview, after the interview,
No.
would you have them transfer them?
You could, but see, the good thing is if you're putting it on an Excel spreadsheet, they've got it, right?
Okay, yeah.
So this is going to be, page 14 / your interview sheet. Putting that in there. And guys, you'll be amazed. It's fun. I was reminded of this recently when I was in the pilot. I'm not sure who it was that we did this particularly with, but I was asking them, like, hey, pull out your sheet that you had from training. And then they didn't know what I was talking about. And they're like, oh, I think I know. And like, we flipped a couple pages in the front of their blue book, and it just so happened to be, they had 30 names and numbers written when they came into day 1 of training that they had thought to call during a phone jam, right? So an easy opportunity to get additional ones, right? So that initial list is big, right? Now, next one is your out-of-towners for virtuals. Okay, so your out-of-towners for virtual demos, and this is going to be a list of people that you can, do virtual online appointments with. And the key with doing some of these online appointments is to make sure that you're doing them with people that are, are solid, right? We don't just want to be seeing anybody and everybody, guys, with out-of-towners, but if somebody does well, they already like nice things, they love to cook, these are going to be the ones we'll want to prioritize here, right? But then here is the big one, guys. It's your connections. And what I love about this is we talk about making sure you get to at least 50, but I mean, let's be real. This could be hundreds of additional people, right? So let's talk about the different connections. You've got people from school. You've got people from your sports teams. Or clubs, right? So sports and clubs, right? So, and what's a good exercise to do when you're doing this as a group is to actually pinpoint people. So go to people that are involved with different things and actually mention it. So like, for example, for you, I'd say, Andrew, how many people were on your soccer team?
Like 25.
Okay, was that high school or your club?
That was club.
Okay, what about high school team?
High school, probably like 30 or so.
Okay, now what about JV? Is there JV and varsity?
Yes, there is.
Okay, how many were on JV?
About the same.
Okay, so you're talking 25 JV, 20. And here's the thing, I know that you don't probably know those JV people as well, but if you're anything like me, when I was growing up, I used to watch varsity when I was on JV, and so I knew a lot of the players, and so my parents kind of did too. Mm-hmm. So if you name drop, hey, I was on the varsity team, bam, they're going to have a connection there, right? But that's 75 people we just found there. Now, were you always on the same club growing up, or did you?
Oh, no, I bounced around like 4 or 5 different clubs.
Okay, so dude, you may have hundreds of people that you knew from soccer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you go to the next one, right? So, so for example, like Sam, weren't you in the Future Farmers of America, right? How many people were in FFA?
We had like one of the larger programs, probably 400.
400, and I do that thing. I go 400. Are you kidding me? Right? And it's like that. And the whole goal during that little exercise is just instilling that, like, oh, of course, feeling. It's like, because a lot of times the reps will feel stuck. And you may have experienced that when you're coaching and mentoring people, right? It's like, I just have nobody else to call. And it's our job to be good finders, but sometimes it's just putting it like right here. If you get good at this talk, you can do this multiple times with people. In fact, what's funny is I bet you, Sam, you probably have people you haven't done demos for that were in FFA with you still to this day.
I probably did not. Okay.
Yeah.
I went into Rex like immediately after fast start. Jake didn't really push me.
No, that's okay. That's not Jake's fault. That's not on Jake. You've been around long enough to know that you could have. But anyway, but the whole point is, right, that going back to the well, as you know, and here's why. And I'll teach you the phone jam ratio. This needs to happen during AT1 still, because, and you can remind them of this during the Tuesday PDI session too. But then you've got this sports and clubs, your neighbors. And so, Dylan, do you live in a neighborhood? Like your family?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. How many streets are in the neighborhood? Do you know?
I don't know. It's big.
Big neighborhood? Okay, cool. And the reason I'll say how many streets, if they don't, I might say, hey, how many homes? And sometimes they know. Most of them don't have a clue. I say, how many homes? I don't know. It's like, okay, well, how many streets roughly? And if they're like, dude, it's a freaking ton. It's like, all right, well, do you guys have a directory?
No, but we have this online thing or something like that.
Yeah.
I tried to get a directory. But
Okay, yeah. And so there may be an option to that. Now, another way you can do it, guys, is using white pages. And I can show you how to use white pages more one-on-one if you need to. And again, that could be something where you teach somebody on Tuesday how to look it up. But what I would do there is let's say I say, Dylan, how many streets? And you're like, 10.
Mm-hmm.
I say you can usually estimate about 25 to 50 homes per street in most neighborhoods. You know, like for example, in my neighborhood, as you guys know, it's small, right? There's really just 2 streets. But in the complex, there's almost 100 homes. There's like 75 homes.
Really? I didn't know there was that many.
You wouldn't think, right? But you're dealing with it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's like 15 just in that first little small street, you know, and then the other one goes down and around. I mean, it's actually a lot bigger than you would think. Yeah, it's about 70 homes, 70, 75 homes.
I would have never guessed that.
No, I know. And that doesn't include the streets behind, streets above, right? I mean, like there's a good number. And so, you know, but, you know, let's just say there's 10 streets. That's 25 homes, you know, per street, right? You're talking 200, 250 homes, right? There's 200 people right there. Indeed, you guys ever go to Temple or, you know, anything like that?
Sure.
Cool. How many people go to Temple with you?
Maybe 100, 150.
Cool. Boom. And so I'm just dropping different groups during this little exercise. And by doing that, what it enables you to do is just have a massive thought, because the goal is you want people, once they get through this connection part, I also do mom and dad's coworkers.
Jewish people go to temple.
Synagogue.
Synagogue.
So I'm gonna say, what's it called?
People
People call it different things,
the
right?
same, yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's
You get
temples.
offended if people just say church?
No,
Synagogue, temple.
don't say church.
Just
but-
don't say church, yeah.
But pretty much.
Because if you call it church, they'll be like, no,
It's like, okay.
Because there's a Muslim
yeah.
temple, a Buddhist temple,
Yes, there's a lot of
Jewish
temples, yeah.
temple. It's a broader term.
Yeah, synagogue is more Jewish specific.
Yes.
So you said 25 to 50.
Mosque is more Muslim specific.
You said 25 to 50 homes per street.
What?
25 to 50 homes.
Yeah, 20, 25. I mean, it could be up to 50. You know, so I mean, if you want to do a range, you say 20 to 50. But it's about that much, right? So like even that little bitty street, Hillcrest View Drive, that I'm on, has about 20 homes.
Just in some neighborhoods, like it's run off like one main street. I
Yeah.
remember the home I grew up in is like a giant ass
Yeah.
U.
Mine does too.
It's like 200 homes just on the one road.
So, but the whole idea is you're wanting to inspire confidence, right? Then you got brothers and sisters, friends, right?
Yes, right.
BS friends, right? But brothers and sisters, friends, parents, right?
Yes.
No, I read it as BS. and I was
BS
like,
friends.
oh, BS
Those fake friends.
Yeah.
You got.
I thought you were just getting stoked about that.
She's like, oh, I forgot about all of Paz's friends. All right,
Hell no.
but here's the thing, guys. If you do this, right, so connections becomes this next group. And this is the one where you got to instill a little bit of confidence, but if you instill people being comfortable calling this is your 50K to 100K reps.
Calling brothers and sisters friends or just all? Okay.
There's a guy by the name of David Scoggins, actually, that was his name. Not David Goggins, right? That's the athlete that is the inspiration behind Living with a CEO and all that. There's a guy named David Scoggins, who it was a big time CSP coach for years. And he's of the belief system that the average representative should be able to sell at least 25. His view is $50,000 before they see people they don't know at all.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And he teaches this concept to CSPs. He teaches this concept to FSMs that he's coached in years past. Just because it's like, dude, like how many additional people do you have that you haven't thought of, right? Like, I mean, there's also, I mean, there's professionals. So like, you know, that you and your family does business with. So this could be like, you know,
Financial planners, doctors,
dentists,
Lawyers.
yes.
chiropractors.
Yes, I mean you name it, right? Anybody your parents do business with, right? Like there's that feeling too. But the whole idea is you get this connection number big, and it's hundreds, if not thousands, if you do it right. Right? Then you go below that to Rex. You know, and then lastly is Rex. You don't know. And how many of you guys got recommended to people this weekend that you sort of kind of know?
Still to this
Right?
day,
And
I get
everybody kind of raised their hands like, yeah. I mean, there's, you know, and here's the thing. I think what we're doing right now, I think we're doing a great job divisionally. I think we're doing a great job kind of even regionally of getting people to do a lot. You know, they're doing these, they're doing these, they're doing these, doing some of those, probably not as many as they could. And then they're doing those.
Yeah.
And they're doing a really good job of probably going boom, 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 maybe a little bit of that, but then immediately going here. And they're probably going here like Wednesday. Why are they having to go here so quickly? Well, think about it. If people come into training with 20 to 30 names and numbers, in some cases less, right? Like some people were averaging like 10 or 15 this summer to training. But if you're averaging 20 to 30, well, what you end up doing is if somebody does 10 their first weekend, they probably have another 4 to 5 they've talked to. So they come in here with between the reschedules and callbacks, 5 or more. So now they've only got another, 5 to 15 people that they can call, right? Because you got 5 demos or 10 demos, 5 reschedules / callbacks.
So 5 to 15.
And so you're doing 15. So now you're talking only having 5 to 15 left by the time they come in to advanced training. If that's all we're doing, is letting people leave training without doing any coaching. So when people come into advanced training, they really need some help. Otherwise, they're coming to that team meeting with this plus Rex they don't.
So you're doing this in advanced training? You're not doing this on day 2 of training?
No, I think it's too much too soon.
Okay.
You do that, because what we don't want to do is we don't want to put it into somebody's, you don't want to put this here.
First weekend.
But see, what's sweet is if we do a better job of having them go from day 1 to day 2, looking up names and numbers, well, then when they do come in advanced training, they at least have those. So they feel a lot better about their names and numbers they can call, right? But this little concept right here of getting people thinking big about this and brainstorming this could be big. So during the the power hour on Tuesday, guys, what we're going to do is we're going to help you get some of these numbers looked up. And the goal is that when you come into advanced training or when you come into AT2 on Wednesday, you've got at least 50 to 100 or more. Some of you guys may have a couple hundred. I mean, Dylan, if you find your neighborhood directory, dude, between now and Wednesday, I mean, you may be able to write down like 50 to 100 just from your neighborhood directory on your sheet and put that in your spreadsheet. Now, why do you think it's important, though, that even if you get a directory, why do you think it's important, though, even if you do get a directory, that we put it in our spreadsheet instead of just leaving it in the directory?
So it's right in front of you.
So it's right in front of you, so that way it's easy to go down the list. Any other reasons you can think of?
People you know.
What?
People you know, writing down.
Yeah, people you know out of the
Writing down
directory, right? There's going to be some people in that neighborhood that live on your same street. Those will be easier to book than maybe people that live 5 streets over and you don't even recognize them at all, their name. Anything else you think of? What can happen with the directory or any
Lose it.
list? Yeah, you lose it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you need to have backups, guys. You want a backup. So the whole idea behind that power hour call or that power hour session is to brainstorm, organize, and get yourself prepared. So that way when you come in on Wednesday, it's just reacting. You don't have to think. So that's what we're really wanting to get accomplished during our Tuesday power hour session. So what I want you guys to do, let's go through your schedule real quick on Tuesday and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and let's look and see when there's a time that you could do your power hour. And you go around, and then this is a nugget that I got from Gamboa, and it's important, but having group accountability to when they're going to do it, and then you're writing it down. Okay.
What friends as like trainees is going.
Yeah. So it's like, so Adi, if you look at your schedule, when do you have time between now and Wednesday to do your power hour?
Tomorrow morning,
Tomorrow morning. So it's going to be Tuesday. What time?
like 10.
10 o'clock? Cool. Now, here's the thing. During the summer, we also have Champions Club, right? So you can even promote, hey, by the way, if you want, come into Champions Club, and then afterwards you just hang and get it done while you're here, and I can help you with it.
Boom.
You know, it's like, okay, cool. Or maybe like, oh, yeah. Or maybe like Adi has expressed zero interest in even wanting to be a part of Champions Club, right? That's okay too, right? Then I wouldn't be like, hey, why don't you come in? You know, I may do that one-on-one. I said, okay, cool. So Tuesday at 10, and then one-on-one, hey, by the way, I know you were planning on doing tomorrow at 10. Do you think you can come in tomorrow? I can help you out with it. Something like that. All right. So Dylan, and just give it a terrible time.
Wednesday at 6 o'clock.
Okay. So Wednesday at 6 o'clock. All right. Now that's not going to work. Why not, guys?
Do we have a team meeting?
Yeah, you're already here. You're already here to be a training. If you're waiting till you get here, it's too late. You know, because where is it going to be easiest for you to get names and numbers?
At your house.
When
with
you're
your
home and you have
parents.
everything with you, right? You got everything there. Mom's there. Dad's there. Your sister's there, right? You can, you know, if you can't find the rosters, Mom can help you find them. Yeah. So why don't you look at your schedule? When's another time before you're coming in that you can get it done?
I guess Tuesday at 5.
Okay, so Tuesday at 5 o'clock. Perfect. Okay, cool. Right, and so you're just going around and you're getting a time. So that way you have it, and then you just plug it in. You plug it into Web PDI, or you plug it into to whatever form we're going to use Web PDI. I really feel like it's just a more effective way to track everything, especially if you have especially for those of you that have aspirations of having big staffs. It's more effective to have it in one place that everybody can use than to just have it be
keep track of kids too.
Also, yes.
And it's scheduled
Kids.
text messages could save you shit.
Yeah, you got it.
So would you follow? So you would follow up with the D and Dylan an hour after they said they were going to do it, or
Actually, I'm going to talk to them before.
okay?
I'm going to call up Dylan. I'm going to say, hey, brother, it's 5:45. You about ready to, or 4:45? You about ready for your power hour coming up? And Dylan may be like, oh crap, I totally forgot.
Mhm.
Now, if I'm doing my job as a manager, hopefully I've talked to them earlier in the day already and reminded them about it. But if I still, if for whatever reason I haven't, or let's say it's the fall and I know they're in school, well, I'm going to call them 15, 20 minutes beforehand, remind them about it. Dylan may be like, oh, dude, I'll be honest, man, I'm on the way to the gym. Totally forgot. Say, all right, well, hey, do you have time when you get home? Okay, cool. Well, hey, this is super important to helping your success tomorrow night at the gym. Okay, so why don't we schedule another time? Boom, and we'll coach them this way. But here's what I like about doing this way, guys, is you're taking ownership of their schedule and their success, not just letting it happen. One of the concepts you're going to hear us share a lot, you probably already have, is the difference between collecting CPO versus creating CPO. Or another form of saying that is pleasing methods versus pleasing results, right? Whereas pleasing methods is just kind of let people do their thing, and then we'll see them at the team meeting, hopefully. That's pleasing methods.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's like, well, I told them about it. They should be here. You know, pleasing results is, okay, I know they're going to be here. They're coming in the right way. Maybe I'm not, maybe you're not fired up about having to remind them about it, but that's life, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's, you know, it's the same thing as, you know, a parent needing to wake their kid up to make sure they're on school on time. It'd be nice if you're like, hey, kid, you know, school's supposed to start at 8. But if you want your kids to get to class, you probably need to help them out, right? So let's talk about that coaching call that happens on Tuesday. So now that it's set up the right way, the next step is making sure that you have the effective call. Okay, so here's how the effective call basically goes. The effective call is it's, positive welcome or intro, right? Getting them pumped up, making them feel good. Next swing is kind of giving some quick reminders. Next step of effective PDI calls is making sure that you're talking about what's in it for them, right? And the way you have a what's in it for them conversation is you promote why it's going to be good for everybody, and then why it's going to be good specifically for them, okay? So why it's good for everybody, and then why it's good specifically for them, okay? Then the next step beyond that is to then go over some sort of an accountability contact with them, and then a positive send off, right? So if we're having this conversation in that format, right? So it's so let's say I'm having the combo with you, Dylan, right? So hey, so Dylan, it's 4:45. Dude, are you about ready for your power hour coming up? Assuming everything's good now.
Oh yeah.
Sweet. All right, man. Well, hey, before we get into that, I'm gonna teach you how to do it. But dude, I just want to let you know, man, I'm really excited. I really love working with you. Here's why. Boom, boom, boom. Right? It's genuine, sincere reasons. Make sure people are feeling good. Okay, hey man, I'm really excited for you because again, this is in their fast start. So when people are in their fast start, they're at that what stage of situational leadership? D1, right? We talked about this in training or in TLA on Saturday, right? They're in D1, meaning they don't know what they don't know. So they're excited, but very little skill. So you can't assume anything with them. This is, again, you're noticing how everything we're teaching is kind of weaving in, right? Yeah. In the 4 agreements, we talked about the idea of not making assumptions. Well, this is part of it. And it's like, hey, so Dylan, super excited to work with you, man. You had a great first weekend, by the way. Hit your first promotion doing 10 demos. I'm excited to help you take it even higher for the rest of your fast start. But I want to talk about the team meeting tomorrow. You know what time that is in advanced training 2? And we're going to talk about, we'll talk about advanced training 2 next level prep, right? But we're going to talk about, advanced training 2 here in just a second. But you know what time that is? Oh, okay, cool. You got that. The team meeting, by the way, is going to be pretty sick. The theme, by the way, is sports theme. So the sports theme. So, do you have any jerseys at the house or anything you can rock? Yeah, sports related. All right, perfect. So make sure you do that. And afterwards, we're going to go grab a bite to eat at blank, wherever you're going to be doing afterwards for your team out. So you're getting them just an agenda, reminding them about that, getting them pumped up. All right. Now, the reason that I wanted to talk to you right now, though, is really to dig in to help set you up for success. So you see how that's a different type of PDI call than just a reminder for the team meeting.
Mm-hmm. That's so much more.
So what are you doing there at the beginning? You're doing the reminder.
Yeah, you're pumping them up.
Yeah, you're doing the reminder. You're getting them good, making them feel good. Now, if it's somebody who's more veteran, it's like, hey, it may be 1 or 2 conversations. Build up encourage the discouraged, challenge the champions first, right? Hey, it's Tuesday. It's our normal Tuesday check-in, but I just want to say, man, I really appreciate your help with the team. I know you didn't have the sales week you wanted to last week, Andrew, but dude, you're a vital part of our organization, and I'm really committed to helping you have an even better week this week than you did last week, right? And I'm here for you, and I'm excited to work with you. If somebody's kicking ass, like, hey, so great job last week, one of the top 10 people on the team. If you thought about taking it even higher this week, thought about having your best week ever this week, so challenging a little bit for people that are doing well, people that maybe aren't doing so hot, building them up, right? Making them feel the love. Then, so that part's getting done at the beginning, reminding about the team meeting itself. That part's getting done quickly, right? But then the next part is, hey, I want to help make sure that you have your best one ever. So the team meeting is great for everybody because the reasons we just mentioned, right? But let's talk about why it's going to be big for you. And then you dig in to that session for helping them coach them. And so an effective coaching session is addressing the following. Have they started making their attack list yet? Okay, so is that attack list already set up for success? The next part of it is seeing how many people they have currently on their list. The next step, helping them with resources. So being a good finder. And this is something that the champions in their business, the Andrew Evans, the Jeff Gamboas, our pilot office. I mean, we're really good at helping people to think of people they didn't think of, right? I mean, what's funny is we were just having these conversations. Andrew's sitting there thinking, "Holy crap! There's more people I hadn't even thought of. I could do
I
this with."
definitely have like 75.
And that's what happens, right? Great managers in our business are really good at breaking down barriers for people to their success, right? And so it's not like I am having to teach you anything new, but just getting an obstacle out of your way so that you can move forward, right? So that and that's what we're shooting for here with these coaching calls. Okay, so tell me about it. What resources do you have sitting out in front of you for this Power Hour session? Right? And if they don't have it, hey, well, what can we put together in the next 15, 20 minutes? Okay, cool, right? And so so what we're doing is we're looking for directories. Those are easy ones, directories. We're looking for going online for Facebook, sending out text messages to buddies in some cases, going to white pages in some cases. It's going to sit down with mom, right? And talking to mom about specifics. I'm a big believer in that too, by the way, guys. It's not effective enough just to say, hey, go talk to mom. I think a lot of managers think that, right? It's like, hey, let's just have you go talk to mom. And that's and I used to do that when I was a new manager too. When I was trying to coach a new rep on thinking of additional names and numbers, it's like, hey, well, why don't you just sit down with mom? And you get one or two results from that, okay? So the first result you get from it is a parent that's super tied in, and they literally just open up their phone book and hook them up with like 25 to 50. And that's fun. That's not the majority, right? The majority of people are going to be in between. Because at the other opposite end of the spectrum, so you get 10%, 10%, and the vast majority, right? So you're going to have 10% of parents who are just like, yep, here's my phone, boom, here's a ton of people. Now, it's funny, if you get creative enough, a lot of times parents will eventually get to that point. Like, for example, with Anthony, it took his dad forever to get to that point. But eventually during the push, I set up that contest where I said, hey, here's the deal. Any parent who sits down with their kid and hooks them up with a bunch of names and numbers, I'll give you $1 worth of free Cutco for every name they give you. And so Anthony's dad just said, here you go. There's 700 names, right? And I capped it, luckily, right? I capped it at, $150 worth of free stuff. But the whole idea is I knew that if a parent gave their child 150 fresh recommendations, that was going to tee them up to have a big push, right? So sometimes you can do it like that, but again, that doesn't happen always, right? So the 10% is the parent that hooks it up. The other 10% is the parent who's negative. The parent who maybe aren't quite as tied into their child's success, right? And they veil it, they disguise it under different pretenses. Some of them disguise it as, oh, I don't want you bugging my friends, right? Or they'll say, due to liability reasons, I can't have you call. Like it's against our corporate policy to do that, which is complete trash because every corporate policy I've ever seen has been broken when somebody's kid starts selling Girl Scout cookies or somebody's kid starts doing football, gift cards or whatever, all that ends as soon as it's something that is somebody just says, here, I want to try this. Okay. So again, what we're doing here is you're trying to work with all different types, right? But even the parents who are against helping out their kids, they usually are open to giving a number where the kid already has the connection. Okay, so what that means is having them pull out page 14 in front of you. It's like, hey, let's go to page 14 real quick. Let's take a look. How many of these names and numbers do you not have, but mom would know the number to? Okay, cool. Why don't we try to come up with like 15 or 20 of those? So that way you can say, hey, mom, I need a couple of these people's numbers real quick. I need this such and such, this such and such. So that way you're getting specifics for them to ask for, because that's a lot easier for somebody to do than just say, hey, can you give me people? Yeah. Right? Because I do, and that's where the vast majority of people fall into place. It's like, hey, I'm willing to help out, but I'm not going to do the work for you. Right? That's a lot of people's parents. You know, same thing with homework, right?
Yeah.
There's some people's parents who homework, it's like, it's all on you, kid. There's some people's parents who won't even let their kids turn in homework without proofreading it, double checking it, making sure it's A quality work, right? And the vast majority of people's parents are like, hey, I'll help you with it, but you need to do the work up front, right? Is that following? So this is what we're doing, right? It's really homework. It's homework on Tuesday for them to set up their success on Wednesday. Okay, so you're coaching them a little bit on this, and it's like, hey, does that give you some good ideas? Okay, sweet. Well, here's what we're gonna do, man. When you come in with 50 fresh names and numbers, let me remind you of why this is gonna help you out so much. Because here's what happens. For people you know well, and this is a number that you wanna get great at teaching your people. You want to, because for those of you joining on for first year prep, sorry, we're wrapping up next level right now, and we're gonna transition into some stuff for you guys here in just a second. But I want to wrap this. So here's the thing. Our number one most important thing to helping drive fast start production is getting people on demos, right?
Yeah.
The more appointments somebody does, the more successful they're going to be. Some people have different schools of thought with regards to, do you sell more to people you know? Do you sell more to people you don't know? Some people say, oh, your average order is higher in one case, it's lower in another case. Closing percentage is higher in one case, closing percentage is lower in others. Individual reps have different schools of thought on it. Some of you guys may be like, oh, I always sell more to people I don't know than people I know well. That's fine. Here is what's not debatable. People that you know well are a lot more willing to see you, to see you.
Sure.
And so that's what you want to teach your representatives, because it's all a numbers game. It doesn't matter. And here's a crazy thing too. It's like this in every form of business. Financial planning, real estate, I mean, hell, anything, right? If you're in business, restaurants, people that you know, you're more willing to go check out your buddy's restaurant than a restaurant you've never heard of, right?
Yep.
You're more willing to go work out at your friend's gym if they're opening up a gym than somebody that's a brand new gym that you don't know anything about, right? I know one of my buddies at jiu-jitsu just opened up his own jiu-jitsu gym. I'm excited to go try it out because it's right down the road here at Peachtree Corners. Now, here's the deal. If I didn't know Chris was opening it up, I wouldn't go there. I'd be like, why would I go there when I got Creighton right up here? And I'm still loyal to my original jiu-jitsu guy, but it's cool to kind of get another closer one to the office, right? So it's all about getting, just understanding that the connection part gets your foot in the door. So here's the stats that we're going to utilize and promote divisionally for people that you know well, for people that you know. So this is going to be right up here, right? It's about 4 calls to get 1 appointment. For people that you don't know as well, but you know of them, it's about 7 calls to get 1 appointment. Again, not good, not bad, just, it's about 7. And for people you don't know at all, depending on your skill level, it's either 1 out of every 10 or 1 out of every 15. Gets you 1 appointment.
Can you see all that again?
Yep. So for people you know really well, so your reschedules, your callbacks, your people you know from your initial list, your aunts and uncles that live out of town, but you can get them booked up. Those are going to be about 1 out of every 4 calls you make. Why the hell is Zoom kicking off now? For people you don't know as well, but you know of them, it's about 7 calls to get 1 appointment. And for people you don't know at all, it's either 10 to 15 to 1, depending on your skill level. The better you are on the phone, the more likely that number is going to be a little one. Yes.
You're talking about going back through their page 14 and about who their mom might know and stuff like that. Would you do that during training or just advanced training?
I do it always.
Okay.
I bring it up during day 1 phone jam. I'll go back to it during advanced training. I'll do it during all that, right? But just that concept right there, 4 to 1, 7 to 1, 10 or 15 to 1, makes it a lot simpler, and also it reinforces the case to see as many practice points as humanly possible. The other thing that is something you'll hear me say in training is the idea of doing 50 practice appointments before you start calling recommendations. Because for the average representative, if they do 50 practice appointments before they start seeing their recommendations, they're going to have anywhere between 250 and 500 recommendations there. So, which is going to be more than enough for them to just go out and rip it. Okay. So that's kind of and then the last little bit of that Tuesday session, that Tuesday call, after kind of coaching them, making sure they got the resources, let them know they're ready to rock, is setting up a time for them to follow up. So an accountability measure at the end to follow up with you and let you know how many names and numbers they've been able to put together and create. Okay, yeah, cool. So it's 4:45, we're almost 5 o'clock right now, right? These calls take about 10 minutes. Here's the thing, you don't have to do this with every single rep on your team, because if you do it right the first time, you set up the appropriate measures at first to then make it easier to follow up later. Right? If you do this the right way and you coach them and teach them and mentor them, it's like, hey, so then the next week it's like, hey, hey Dylan, just we got the team meeting coming up tomorrow. Have you had a chance to do your power hour yet? Okay, sweet. I know you had it down for this time. Do you have you know how to do this, right? Resources, putting it together, typing it up. Cool. Can you just update me when you get done? Let me know how that's going. Yeah. Okay, beautiful. Now for tomorrow's night's team meeting, then you kind of just do your reminders and get them bumped up and all that. So you flip it slightly, right? Meaning the first time you do it, you build up the team meeting and then dig in on the power hour session. After you get them in the groove, it's then you remind them about the power hour session and then promote and hype up the team meeting. What's going to happen the next day? Find value there. Cool. Does this help?
A lot.
Yeah,
a lot.
Okay, cool. Guys, I'm a big believer that this is a low-hanging fruit for us for next summer, where it's not a massive skill you have to learn, but it's a simple thing. And if you do this, if you do a little PC time or a little phone coaching call with each of your fast starters on day 4 of their fast start, you're going to have them explode that next weekend. The way to get the averages way up is for a phone jam on Wednesday, if everybody makes 40 to 50 calls. Think about it like this, right? If everybody makes at least 40 phone calls, okay? 40 phone calls for people that have a lot of people on their initial list, they're going to book up 10 appointments. 40 phone calls for people that have got a lot of acquaintances, they're going to book up, 6 to 7, something like that, appointments. There's probably going to be a mix of this, because they're still going to have reschedules to call. They're still going to have callbacks, but they're starting to call people that they've brainstormed with. And then people that are here, they're going to get, 4 or 5. And that's how you get the average for your team to 6 or 7 appointments ahead. Here's where it gets really cool, is how many people at your peak did you guys have in your team meetings? I know it's different for every office, right? Most big team meeting. Okay, so let's say 9, right? Like I know, and you may be like, oh, that's not a lot. Well, keep in mind, if they average 7 appointments, that means during that phone jam, you created another $6,000 to $8,000 in sales for your team in one phone jam on a Wednesday night. What was the most you had?
Like 25.
Okay, 25. What was your biggest sales week this summer?
15, 16.
Okay, imagine if you do this, what we're talking about, and they average 7. 25 times 7, 175
wow.
demos.
Yeah.
It's 175 demos booked up at a team meeting, which is, $17,000 to $20,000 in sales created during a single phone jam.
Wow.
And if you have higher averages for closing percentage, higher sales, it could be even more. That's with about a 70-80% completion rate, 50 to 60% sales ratio, $250 to $300 average order. If your numbers are higher, it could be much greater. What was our biggest team meeting this summer?
50 probably close to that. I bet we had
more than that.
You think?
Yeah.
I'm trying to
That week we
imagine-
did 90,000 in new business in June. I bet we had 75 people here. Because we had this entire room,
Alex,
that
it was
entire
fucking
room
packed
outside
that day.
slammed.
Yeah.
It was people were in hallways. I mean, if we had 7, let's just say 60. If we averaged 7 demos a head, that's 400 demos we would have booked up during that phone jam,
That's nuts.
which would have been a 40 to 60,000 with our averages last summer, $60,000 phone jam. We could have had $120,000, $140,000 new business. So this is something I'm fired up about this because I just see this as such an area of opportunity for us as a division that it could take things to the next level. So cool. If you have any additional questions on it, let's follow up and talk about this more one-on-one because, like I said, I think this could be game changing. Right. And so let me, guys, for everybody on Zoom, I am